Hello Bookish friends, welcome to my first video of recommendations for the Christie's Missing Readathon. The Christie's Missing Readathon is a readathon that will take place between the dates of December 3rd and December 14th. The 11 days that Agatha Christie was missing in the year 1926. For this year we will do a different approach, and as co-hosts we will be the captain of a detective team. I will be the captain of Team Marple. Naomi at Naomi's Bookshelf will be the captain of Team Battle. Sevi at Seskevi will be the captain of Team Tommy and Tuppence. And Rachel at Rachel Fryman will be the captain of Team Poirot. You can find the information about how to join the teams in our announcement videos, and I will link the sign-up sheet down below too. But like last year, we also have some prompts that you can do to join our readathon, even if you do not want to join any of the teams. Today I will talk about the first three prompts, and I will give recommendations as well as the work that I choose to read for this prompt. Our first prompt is to read a closed circle mystery, and this prompt was the prompt that I found the most recommendations from, and I did not include all of them. For all prompts, first of all, I will give recommendations from Agatha Christie books, because if you read an Agatha Christie book for the prompt, you will get a double point. My first recommendation is the first book in Hercule Poirot series, which is The Mysterious Affair at Styles. It is one of the first examples of closed circle mystery. After that, Agatha Christie used this trope many times. The ones I read were The Mystery of the Blue Train, Murder on the Orient Express, That on the Nile, That in the Clouds, Cards on the Table, Sparkling Cyanide, The Sittaford Mystery, A Murder is Announced, and of course, And Then There Were None, which is the group book that we will read. I will read And Then There Were None for this prompt. Other than Agatha Christie, many of the mystery writers also use this prompt very frequently. First of all, I will talk about the ones that I read, and I heavily recommend those books too. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle is a great example of such a mystery. The first book in Molly Murphy Mysteries, Murphy's Law, can also be considered as a closed circle mystery. This book is written by Rhys Bowen. The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins is also an example of such a mystery. And the fictional murder in The Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz is also a great example of this trope. There were many examples that I found that I still need to read. Some authors wrote more than one for this prompt, but I chose one from each author. The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, The Guest List by Foley, Daisy Darker by Alice Sweeney, An Unwanted Guest by Shari Lapena, One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus, and Aunt Timothy Snowbound by Nancy Atherton. I also found some examples from the Golden Age authors, which is another prompt that I will cover in my next recommendations video. But you can choose these books and cover both of the prompts by reading just one book. The first book in Inspector Charlesworth series, That in High Heels by Christina Brand, The Siamese Twin Mystery by Ellery Queen, another first book in Sir Henry Merrill Mysteries, The Plague Court Murders by John Dixon Carr, were some of the many examples of the closed circle mystery books written by Golden Age authors. I will talk more about those authors in my next recommendations video, as I mentioned before. I also found a translated work of mystery, The Hanjin Murders, which is the first book in Detective Kosuke Kindaichi Mysteries by Shari Yokomizo. And lastly, there were some genre benders. The Stormfront, which is the first book in the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher, and Gideon the Knight by Tamsin Muir were examples of closed circle mysteries in fantasy books. Any of those books would count. Like I said, there were numerous examples of this trope. Our next prompt is to read a short story, a mystery short story, of course. And among the Agatha Christie short story collections, I read The Listerdale Mystery and Other Short Stories, The Witness for the Persecution and Other Stories, The 13 Problems, Miss Marple's Final Cases, Poirot Investigates, Murder in the Mews, Partners in Crime, and The Best Detective Stories of Agatha Christie. Most of the mysteries in this short story collections are very good, and I would recommend you to read any of them. Other than Agatha Christie, I also found some authors who wrote mostly short story mysteries. For example, Jacques Futrelle wrote the mystery stories featuring the thinking machine. Arthur Conan Doyle, although he wrote some novels, mostly wrote mystery short stories featuring Sherlock Holmes. G.K. Chesterton wrote Father Brown stories. Edgar Allan Poe wrote many mystery stories. P.D. James also wrote some really interesting mystery short stories. James Ramsey, featuring Sidney Chambers, wrote a series of short story collections. And last but of course not least, the short story collection An Elderly Lady is Up to No Good by Helen Thurston was one of my favorite books of 2021. And you can read short stories from mystery short story anthologies. I read vintage mystery and detective stories edited by David Stuart Davies. There were some great short stories in that collection. I also found some other mystery collections that you can find interesting. A Moment on the Edge, 100 Years of Crime Stories by Women, edited by Elizabeth George. Best American Mystery Stories, edited by Louise Penny. And there were numerous short story collections edited by Martin Edwards. And lastly, you can also read a new approach to my detective Marple. Marple, 12 new stories by various authors. You can read one short story from that collection and you will be done with the prompt. For the prompt of reading short stories, I will read the short story first featured Miss Marple, Tuesday Night Club. I want to read about my detective as much as possible. Consequently, the last prompt that I will talk about is a book featuring your detective. Since I am the team captain of Miss Marple, I will talk about books featuring Miss Marple. In 1927, the world was introduced to St. Mary Mead's most famous spinster, Miss Jane Marple, in a short story published in the Royal Magazine, which is the story that I will read for short story prompt. It would be another 3 years before she appeared in a full-length novel, which was The Murder at the Vicarage. Miss Marple's series starts with a short story collection, The 13 Problems, which includes the short story that I will read. According to Goodreads, the series has 12 novels and 20 short stories. I will talk about the novels in their publication order. The first novel, as I mentioned before, is Murder at the Vicarage. Then came The Body in the Library, followed by The Moving Finger, and A Murder is Announced. Then came They Do It With Mirrors, A Pocket Full of Rye, 450 from Paddington, The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side, A Caribbean Mystery, At Bertram's Hotel, Nemesis, and lastly Sleeping Murder. Among those, my favorites are 450 from Paddington, The Body in the Library, and The Sleeping Murder. I think Miss Marple novels all have a very similar quality in their tones. I think you will find the same enjoyment in reading any of the novels. It was really hard to rank them, but I made a ranking video in last year's Readathon. I will link it up in the cards. Of course, you can also read the new Marple short story collection for this prompt too. What will I read for this prompt? I will read the first novel, The Murder at the Vicarage, since I finished all of the Marple novels. I thought it was a good idea to go back to the beginnings of Miss Marple, and it has been many years since I read that novel, and I've only read it once. So this was my recommendation video for the first 3 prompts in the Christie's Missing Readathon. Please comment down below, are you thinking of joining the Christie's Missing Readathon, and which team do you think you will participate in? Of course, I would prefer if you join my team, but joining any team is great since we are all lovers of mystery, and co-hosts are very dear friends of mine, of course. If you're a new viewer, first of all, welcome. Please like and subscribe. Hope to see you very soon. Bye. As for Turkish word of the day, I'm going to choose recommendation. Recommendation means tavsiye in Turkish, and tavsiye is our Turkish word of the day. Have a good day.